Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello and welcome to another Spotlight On. I'm your host, Yael Tygiel, and I'm sitting with an amazing woman. I'm sitting with Cathryn de Prume. Cathryn, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited. You have been working in the industry for many years. And you have covered all the mediums. I'm going to say it, all the mediums. Right now we're doing online. You've done movies and TV and theater, and you just do everything. What can't you do?
I don't sing that well.
Okay. So you're human. At least we know you're human.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's well, you do what you can. You know. Yeah. I love acting, and I'll do a project if I love it. So it doesn't really matter the medium, as long as it gets to the people somehow. Other people, I don't know.
Well, I read the story that at 11 you were like, no, I want to act. I want to start being an actress, and so you took a babysitting job to earn money to act.
Yeah, my mother is from Russia, and she'd be like, no, being an actor is like being a prostitute, and I don't want you to be not a prostitute, and Hollywood is a prostitution place. And
well, ironically, you've played a prostitute.
Played a lot of prostitutes. Yeah, that's true. So maybe she's right. But she just, she was compassionate and really wanted me to be happy. That was where she was coming from. But I just really wanted to do it. I was so inspired by growing up in New York. I was so inspired by the crazy, wacky people around me, including my mother.
Yeah.
And I would watch people and just say, oh my gosh, I want to play them. I want to be them. And my first love of acting was to change myself, like to put on a costume or a nose or a wig or something. And my mother just was like, no way, that's not what you're going to do. And so, at 11, I started babysitting and saving up money and in a piggy bank. And then I opened up the Yellow Pages, which says how old I am. Doesn't even exist anymore.
They still exist. They
do? Oh, yeah, they're like this thick.
Yeah,
though.
they like show up and no one uses them.
Right.
Yeah, I know what those are.
Actually, my daughter, we were using it for her booster seat. Because it was a cheap booster, they cost about $30, but just one of those, it works great.
See, those exist.
Yeah, okay. So I just found this acting class on Flatbush Avenue, and I got on a bus, and I enrolled myself, and those are the days that kids could get out on their own.
Right.
Nowadays, oh my gosh, it'd be too scary to let your kid out to do anything. But so I started studying, and then she started to take me a little more seriously, and then was a little bit more on my side. And
well, what did she want you to be before you started?
A teacher like her, and they don't make any money, unfortunately. But to be noble, to do something good in the world, and hopefully I'm doing that with acting. I mean, I feel like I'm doing it in a roundabout way, or trying to, hoping to, where people can see some humanity in what I'm doing, and they can recognize something and maybe heal something. I think art is for healing, and ideally, and so she influenced me that way. I want to do good in the world.
Yeah. And I know you started in some theater with some improv.
Yeah.
Did you ever play her as a character on stage?
Actually, I have a one-woman show that's really based all on her. She's my muse. She's inspired me and freaked me out and everything. So
mothers are for.
You're right. I played her a lot. In fact, I've used her in different characters. There was a movie I got cut out of, unfortunately, but I was so fortunate actually to work with Sean Penn. He directed me in it was called The Crossing Guard. And the whole storyline got changed, so my part went by the wayside. But I auditioned for him, and it was kind of a bitchy character, you know. But before I read, I was telling him a little about my mother, and then so I did the scene, and he said, "Do it again like your mother." And I was like, "Wow, that's genius!" So I did it again with a Russian accent, and sometimes when I put on an accent, it really just makes me feel more free, you know.
Yeah.
And he was so excited, and he stood up and he said, "Something tells me to give you the part right now, but I got to see other people." And I was like, "Oh my God!" I walked out of there high as a kite.
Yeah.
Sean Penn thinks I'm good. And I was like, "Oh my God." So, and eventually I did get the part, and, you know, it was a bummer it was cut out, but it was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah. That sounds like an amazing, even if you didn't get the part, that's just such an amazing confirmation of your talent, and that you at 11 knew that you were going down the right path.
Thank you. Or chose it.
Yeah.
I never know if there's a right or what you're meant to do. You know, it's really what you choose, I think. And if you stick to it.
Yeah.
I mean, so many times I think, like, why am I doing this? Just today I had an audition, and it was friggin' in the middle of a construction zone. And I was like, how are they holding a casting session in the middle of a construction zone? Like, you couldn't park anywhere near there or walk. Anyway, I just was like, why am I doing this? But, you know, I keep doing it because I love it. And I don't know, it's crazy. It's, you know, they say you're crazy if you keep doing the same thing, and you get the same results.
Is doing the same thing, expecting different results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, hoping for some different results, maybe, as I have this movie coming out, might be some new exciting results.
I was going to say, you definitely have new results. You have a new film coming out, Wild, with Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah. It's
coming out December 5th. And it's a true story. It's based on a true story.
Yes. Cheryl Strayed wrote this beautiful memoir of her experience. She gives herself this task of hiking the Pacific Crest Trail 1,000 miles by herself in the 90s. And it's after she goes through hell and back, heroin addiction. It was really her mother's death that kicked all this off. And she gives herself this thing to see what she's made of. And you see Reese put herself through that, and it's a beautiful story and beautiful book, and I'm really so proud and honored to be in it.
And tell us a little bit about your part.
I play a hiker that Reese meets on the way, and we just connect for a couple scenes, and it's I feel like it's a beautiful scene. She goes through this on this trail and meets all kinds of interesting people along the way. So I'm one of the people. So
you've worked with Reese. You've gotten to work with a lot of other amazing women. I have Melissa Leo, Jodie Foster, Goldie Hawn. Have you ever been starstruck, or do you just see them as a peer who is, you know, where you are going?
Kind of both. I actually worked with Melissa Leo before she had done anything I knew of. It was when I was 19, and she played Mama Bear, and I was Goldilocks, and it was so fun. But watching her over the years, I'm pretty starstruck now. Shirley MacLaine, that was exciting, getting to work with Shirley MacLaine. We didn't have any scenes together, but I had read a few of her books before getting on set with her, and just was really excited to meet her and talk to her, and then to see that she's an actor like all of us, you know, and has her humanity. After reading her book especially, I thought, wow, she probably has no problems and is so confident and has been around the world. And I don't know, she just seemed like the most incredibly, her career just was so incredible. And then when I met her, she just was a person. So both starstruck and not starstruck.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if you look back at what your mother had said to you and where you are now. And if your child said, I want to be an actor, you know, knowing so much more, knowing what Hollywood is like and what the industry is like, you know, if your child says, I want to be an actor.
My husband and I talk about that a lot because we have a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And she's so beautiful. We adopted her, so it's not my genes. And sometimes we think, oh my gosh, she's so incredible. Like she would be a wonderful actress if she wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And then on the other hand, we're like, oh my God, we should keep her as far away as possible from this industry. But really what we want to do is see what she wants, see who she is. Mm-hmm. I believe that we choose our parents, even whether biologically or not. So she chose us. We're both actors. So she'll probably, I mean, sometimes she's come with me on auditions mm-hmm. and she said, I want to try that. And I'm like, oh my God. So I really want to see what she wants to do. Mm-hmm. And then if she does choose it, then we're going to be right there for her. And we'll know how to navigate. We've already navigated so much. So we'll be able to support her.
Yeah. You have an inside look and be like, here's what you're going to do. Yeah. We got this. Yeah. We've done it already. We got this.
And to really know what I hope to instill in her actually just as a person is that whatever industry you choose, there are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be times people love you, times people really don't care, times you're broke, times you're rich. And it's just with acting, it's so magnified. Mm-hmm. So the most important thing is to have a solid sense of self and a solid happiness inside that doesn't get rocked by all these transient things, mm-hmm. you know.
Well, speaking of ups and downs, the film that you were cut out of, what did you know ahead of time?
No.
Did you find out when you went to watch it?
I found out. It was such a tough time for me. My father was actually dying, and I was in New York and being with him. And Rory Cochrane, who played the lead in this movie, he's not in it anymore. He called me and he said, I think I'm cut out of the movie. And I'm like, you're kidding. If you're cut out, I'm cut, because I played his girlfriend.
Right.
And then I called the casting director. He said, yeah, I'm so sorry. I heard they rewrote the whole thing.
Wait, you had to call them to find out?
Yeah, that's unfortunately how it goes.
That's how it works.
Yeah, they're too busy and, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate saying that, but yeah.
Well, I think that's a nice thing to let other actors know.
If I was directing, I would have let somebody know, especially if I was that excited about their work.
Right.
Yeah. But, you know, Sean was very busy at the time. I know he was doing a lot of amazing things. He was getting nominated for Oscar.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I forgive him, but it wasn't easy. I'll tell you.
Well, so you've done a lot of television, especially recently. You were Warlow's mother, on True Blood, uh-huh. which is huge. That storyline was the entire season with Warlow. So that was amazing.
Thank you.
And you've also done a lot of network TV. Can you tell us a little bit about the difference between working in network TV versus a show like, you know, True Blood, where everyone's naked all the time?
Well, the stuff I did, there was nobody naked, but I love being on HBO. I mean, when I'm not going to push violence, but I love naked. Not that I want to be naked all the time, but like push the envelope. Let's have a party. Let's have some fun. Let's create and be imaginative. And so I love being on that show. I mean, it was a short time. You know, it was just a one episode, but what I was really excited about was the camaraderie on the set. Like the people, all the crew, everybody had worked together for a really long time and had they were like a well-oiled machine, just moved together. And it was really great. But in terms of being different, I don't see necessarily such a difference, except maybe a drop more freedom. You know, because on regular network shows like NBC or CBS, you've got advertisers breathing down your neck. You know, they're paying for it. So everything's got to be so like this, like that, Whereas on a cable show, there's a little bit more room for creativity. So, yeah.
And you were in, I want to say it may have been a scene, but it was one of the most important scenes that set up an entire mythology and explained, where everyone came from.
Wow.
It was one of the most necessary scenes of the show.
You. What was really cool about it is I got to speak in an actual, real, ancient language. And there were only like 3 people in the world who still know the language, and they hired this one guy to teach us. So what I said was in this ancient language. It was so cool.
That's
I don't
amazing.
even remember the name of it. It was some like Middle Eastern, because that's where the civilization began.
Right.
So it was really
It's like
cool.
some old ancient version of Aramaic.
That's what it was. Aramaic. Yes.
Aramaic. I'm familiar with Aramaic.
Oh, wow.
And so have you ever thought about learning Aramaic?
I'm not going to go
now
that far.
You know a few sentences, you might as well learn the rest of the language.
I have trouble enough with my Russian. I grew up speaking Russian, and I'm so rusty with it, but I try to keep that going a little bit.
Yeah. Any other languages?
Some Spanish, California Spanish.
Right. I mean, you can't live here and not know Spanish.
Yeah.
It's kind of a rule. But you came from New York, and then you came out to LA.
I did. I grew up in Brooklyn and came out here in 1990. So I've been out here a while.
Yeah.
I consider myself a Californian.
Now.
But I'm a native New Yorker.
Yeah.
Brooklyn. So that's in my soul.
Well, I know that you had a one-woman show that you talked a lot about your mother in it, and you're, I believe, working on making that a television series.
Yeah, that's my next project, is creating into a series, because there are endless stories in that house, from the house I grew up in, and all the characters. So I realized I've written it into a screenplay, and that's done, but I realized there's so much more juice to it. So, and it would be fun to work for a long period of time, to go to work and then go to work and keep going to work.
Oh, that would be really nice.
It would be so great.
Right? I feel like that'd be great.
So I was like, what would be the best job, like, to keep going? So yeah, I'm trying to develop it into a series where it's about a young girl, a teenage girl, growing up in this absolute chaos, eccentric family, and a domineering mother. And so she's trying to grow up. The mother doesn't want her to grow up. So it's this conflict of, I can't squish myself back into a box, but she also loves her mother, even though her mother is so controlling and crazy, and she loves her upbringing and all her crazy family.
Right.
But she also wants to fit in. That's really what she's trying to do, is fit in and be a normal person.
Yeah.
So that's a
And you would be
theme.
playing your mother.
Probably. I'm not 1,000% attached to it. I'm pretty excited and wanting to, but my priority with it is that I really get the story told the way I want to. So if I'm more producing it and directing it, that's okay. If I find another actress who could do it better than me, then I might let it go.
So do you plan to do other producing, directing, writing?
Yeah, I always do. As an actor, you kind of go crazy when you're unemployed. So you got to do something.
Yeah.
And I love writing. I love stories, and I love other people's stories. So it's very fulfilling when you help nurture a project, and then you see it come to fruition. It's so, yeah, I'm always got a few pots cooking.
Yeah. Is there any other pots cooking you want to tell us about?
No. That's
Nothing yet.
That big pot is my series.
Yeah.
And then my 3-year-old is a big pot.
Yeah.
So,
I
but there's a couple other projects that I'm considering, but I'm not sure. So, yeah.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about Wild, which, as we said, coming out December 5th. You got to work with an amazing director who may or may not have just been involved in an amazing Oscar-winning film.
Yes. Yes.
Tell us.
Jean-Marc Vallée. He's amazing. He's so talented and interesting, and he's got this strength about him. This kind of he runs that set like, and he has such a very clear vision of what he wants, and yet he's very improvisational, because he comes from documentary filmmaking.
Oh.
And so he's got everybody lined up, and then he wants to see what's going to happen. So when Reese and I got to work together, it was just for me, he was like an actor's dream director, really, because I felt like he really cared about, and ideally any director should care about what the actors are doing, but I felt like he was really like right there with whatever we were creating. You know, it wasn't just, all right, do it this way, and now we've got it in the can, okay, done. It was I love improvisational people, like when people are willing to be in the moment and see what can happen. You know, it's so he's like that. He's gonna, oh my God, I have a feeling I don't want to jinx him, but he's so talented, so good. And I mean, you see from Dallas Buyers Club, and I think the directing in this is incredible. So yeah.
He came directly off of Dallas Buyers Club into your movie.
Yeah.
Was there any residual, Dallas Buyers Club in him when he came in? Was he like...
Yeah, he was in drag. No.
Was he like, Matthew, Reese, stop doing that? No?
I don't think so, no. I'm sure there was a long period of pre-production, But the movie was coming out when we were shooting. It was like about to come out, and it was already getting a buzz.
Yeah, an AFTERBUZZ.
No, he didn't seem to focus on that at all. He was very present and about what he was doing, Yeah, and he has this slight French accent. He's French Canadian,
right?
And very passionate guy. I love directors who are passionate. The ones who sit behind the camera and just like, okay, whatever. It's like, come on, let's play.
Yeah. Well, you've worked with a whole slew of people. You've done a lot of dramas, some comedy. You're working on your comedy series. Do you prefer doing one or the other? Do you have a preference for comedy or drama?
Not necessarily, not really. It's really about when you have something to sink your teeth into, a story, an arc, a character meaning like someone with some layers to them. I think there should be humor in everything. Ideally, I think a drama that doesn't have any laughs is dull.
Really sad.
Really sad.
That sounds really sad.
Really. So I love everything. I think it's just important to have a good story. So. I like being funny, fun.
Yeah.
That was my first love, was Lucille Ball. That's what I aspired to be, was Lucille.
Well, who doesn't want to be
I know,
Lucille
right?
Ball?
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
Having so much fun.
Yeah. Do you think you're better at one or the other?
No, I'm better when I have a good story. When I'm excited about something. That's when I'm good. It's when I have a lot of difficulty when it's something, a scene, and it's kind of expositional and about telling the story, but the character's not invested. I have trouble investing myself in that. Although that's my job and I got to do it in order to make a living. But if the character gets to go through something, that's when I just sink my teeth in. I get excited and
you shine.
I shine. I hopefully,
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't be where you are and going where you're going if you didn't.
Oh,
you have an amazing history that I think only allows for you to go further and get larger and more accessible roles. And
thank you.
I think I feel like everyone who we see now, this is going to sound so odd, but I feel like everyone that we see now and we admire at some point or another played a bunch of prostitutes on TV and movies. I feel like that's where they start.
Oh my God. In my 20s, I had to have a whole half of my closet was all these prostitute characters. Can you imagine auditioning in New York as a prostitute? It's like, in New York, you're so visible and the guys, do cat calls, and it's just a whole nother world. But you have to go on a subway to go to your audition and put your makeup on the way, and then you're wearing what you're wearing or not. It's, oh my goodness. But in LA, you can change in your car at the red light, and so.
Well, luckily you are past that.
Oh no! Oh. I still change in my car at red light.
Oh no, I meant a past prostitute.
Oh no, they're older prostitutes. Hey, I haven't played one in a while, but hey, why not?
We're gonna write you a comedy series where you play a prostitute.
Love it. I would do that.
We're doing it. It's gonna happen. This has been so fun. Tell us again, when does Wild come out?
December 5th.
December 5th.
Fox Searchlight.
Awesome.
Reese Witherspoon.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
This was amazing. And let the people at home know where they can find you on Twitter or Instagram or anything
Find my
else.
name on Twitter, Cathryn de Prume.
You want to spell
it? And it's, you can, my handle or whatever you call it. I just started Twitter, but it's Cathryn, Cathryn, and then DE. So so you don't have to figure out my whole name.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. And of course, you can find me online at yael.tv. That's YAEL.tv. There you'll find information about the beautiful stylings from Siren's Boudoir. Also on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. Thanks again.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.